Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Mess. So, Derek and I'm back with some more big decomp energy, and I'm back with the second version of this video that I had to make. The first one I had to toss out. That is because the developer Dmitry Bidlov is working on a Silent Hill Downpour static recompilation using RexGlue, and he actually sent me a newer version of the build after I'd finished the voiceover, and honestly that happens more often than not because developers find some fixes while I'm still working on the video. And I know people have been very interested in some Silent Hill static recomp, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. But just be aware that there are still fixes to be made here. The game is smooth, it runs at a higher frame rate than the Xbox 360 ever did, but in some of the depth of field effects, if you actually bump up the resolution, you can get a little bit of blockiness in that depth of field effect. And the developer has stated that they are working on fixing that, but I talked to one person from my Discord that told me that they had finished the game from start to finish, saw the credits scroll, and didn't have any issues enjoying the game, so I know this one is definitely 100% playable. Before you get too far involved though, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, got a Patreon link down below as well. And even though Silent Hill Downpour is not one of the top tier upper echelon Silent Hill games, it is definitely better than some of the other ones that were released around the same era. It has a fun vibe, it has a good storyline, and it really is an enjoyable experience. And I remember when I played it back on the Xbox 360, not loving it all that much because it didn't really feel exactly like the Silent Hill I was expecting. But now later on in 2026, I can appreciate the game for what it was trying to do and not compare it to Silent Hill 1 through 4, which really is the traditional series, at least in my opinion. But you leave me a comment down below and you tell me Downpour yes or no when it comes to the overall Silent Hill experience. Now as far as the static recomp is concerned, it is running smooth, the frame rate is great, but you'll see there on that hand and arm there's a tiny bit of that blocking. Now if you don't bump up the internal running resolution, you're not going to have that, but if you do, that is still waiting on a fix. But I figured I would show you what the recomp is capable of and what's going to be improved on from the developer in the future. And if this name does sound familiar, that's because I just recently did a video on the Deadly Premonition static recomp, and it is from the same dev. And because I know people like to actually know this information, then I let you decide exactly what you want to do with it. Yay or nay, totally fine with me. The developer on this one is using Claude to assist in some of the development process while enhancing the overall RexGlue engine to kind of make things even better. So it does have that Claude assist, and if that's something you don't care about, then you're totally good to go. And if it is something you care about, now you know about it. But again, I'll always say, I let you guys decide how you feel about something. I'm fine with whatever decision you make. And honestly, this dude here, absolutely 10 out of 10, maybe one of the grossest looking character models in any video game ever made. And I know that's what they were going for, and they were absolutely successful at it. And I will say that that is really one of Downpour's actual strong suits. All of the character development, the storyline, their motivations really do effectively work, and it is a really fun story. I just think by this point in time, we were expecting more stuff like Silent Hill 1, 2, 3, or 4, when we ended up with Downpour, and that just didn't hit the same way. Pun very much intended. And of course it is a Silent Hill game, so the combat's always going to be a little bit janky. There's nothing that a static recomp could fix in that direction. But I will say the game looks exceptionally good, and especially when it's not using that depth of field effect, upping the internal running resolution really does look good. And this one comes with its own built-in launcher as well, so you're going to be able to change all of the settings up before you actually go ahead and play the game. So if you just want it at its native res and don't want to worry about that little bit of depth of field weirdness, you can 100% get away with that too. But again, I just love that Silent Hill is getting a lot of love recently. We have the Silent Hill PC port right now with another one in the works based upon the decompilation project. We now have a Downpour Recomp as well, and I'd really love to see this happen for every single Silent Hill game, because even the ones that did get PC ports, those ports can be very difficult to run on modern systems unless you patch the ever-loving hell out of them, versus something like imagine a Silent Hill 2 and 3 static recomp, because those games are being decompiled, running natively on PC. That would just be an easier, better way to play these. And because Silent Hill is definitely back, we just got the Silent Hill 2 remake, we got the most recent Silent Hill game, and we have another one on the way. I really feel like for the next 18 to 24 months we're going to be inundated in all the best ways possible with new Silent Hill content, and that's going to make each and every one of us absolutely a winner. And just so you know, only showing you basically the beginning areas of the game, because if you've never played it before, a lot of the twists and turns in the story are things I don't want to reveal to you. And that's definitely something I try to do on the channel, even if the game is old, to not give away all that much, even if I give away something. But the first are two soundtrack samples, and I'll be right back with a lot more Silent Hill. I mean, the audio is definitely effective, and it is a good rendition of what you would expect Silent Hill Downpour to sound like in the music department and in the sound effects department. So as soon as this overall depth of field effect gets cleaned up a little bit, it'll definitely be something that'll even be that much better. But if you take a look at the leaves on the ground there, definitely a higher resolution internally than the Xbox 360 could ever handle, so you're going to see a lot more detail in the game. And for an environment that is as detailed in spots as Downpour is, that is going to be a benefit to basically everyone. You're going to notice new details that you never saw before, and that kind of visual storytelling that isn't talked about in the storyline, but you just see randomly, is one of the best things about a Silent Hill game. There's so many little details here and there that basically kind of world build around what you're actually playing, and I really do appreciate that getting that higher rendering resolution gives you more of those actual little nods to what's happening in the world of Silent Hill Downpour. The one thing that I still never liked about this game, at least the beginning, is it is a little bit of a slow open, and some of the balancing sequences here where you have to keep yourself in the middle of a log kind of feels like trying to balance on a trick in Tony Hawk Pro Skater. It could have just been something that was a cut sequence where you just saw the character go across the log versus actually having to control it. But the nice thing is it is responsive. There really isn't any latency in the controls whatsoever, so that is definitely impressive. And don't forget, this is Rexclu, so right now it's using Xenia underpinning this, but in the future Rexclu is changing things up, and they're basically going to be going towards custom renderers and custom runtimes for every single game, with Xenia only as the most backup of backups possible. And that was always the game plan from Rexclu's developers when they first announced the project, stating that they wanted to get the static recompiler of the PowerPC code running first, and then from there work on stuff like the actual audio and video portions like we saw with Sonic Unleashed. So in the future you're going to be seeing a lot more Rexclu recomps with 100% fully static recompiled assets for everything versus what we have now. But honestly, in this instance, outside of the depth of field being a little bit weird, it is functioning exactly as it should. And it really is pretty. Like, this map right here just looks better in a higher resolution than it did on the 360, because that first era of HD consoles definitely was only kind of HD in theory. Yes, the resolution was higher, but it kind of felt more like an HD console that was more like 720p at best than something like we expect today. This looks like something in the textures and geometry that could have come out on PlayStation 4 or Xbox One X versus being a 360 game. But you leave me a comment again and you tell me, how do you like the new motion clarity and the overall visual clarity of this version versus the 360 original? Because for me personally, I just think it looks all that much better. And that really is the fun thing about static recomps. They take games that we remember from back in the day and just improve upon them in any way they can. And what would be the number one improvement you'd love to see come to a PC port of Downpour? I would be curious on that one too. One more soundtrack sample along with some dialogue here and some of the background sound effects, and I'll be right back with just a little bit more content for you.
Free tram ticket. So where the hell's the machine? These game tokens look ancient.
So yeah, if you want to play a Silent Hill Downpour static recomp for your PC today, I left a link in the description below. Just follow the directions on the GitHub page to get it set up and you'll be totally fine. And like I said, if I wasn't bumping up the internal rendering resolution, we wouldn't have that slight macro blocky weirdness on some of the actual depth of field. And I'm sure it looks worse on YouTube than it does on my actual production monitors or on my OLED, because when it actually goes and compresses these on YouTube, it's just going to get stepped on a little bit worse because the detail there is a little wiggly. So what you're seeing is probably not anywhere near as bad as it is on my monitor, but it's just something that does need to be cleaned up. But I figured I would actually leave it in the video versus bumping the resolution down and keeping it away from the actual capture. That way you could see what is happening and what is to be improved. But again, Downpour, maybe not as good of a game as we had hoped for back in the day, but definitely a better game than people thought it was on its release. And honestly, it had a lot of big shoes to fill when it came to what we had from Silent Hill all the way up to Silent Hill For the Room. And it's one of those things. Silent Hill is back. Hopefully the next game is every bit as good as some of the originals, and hopefully Bloober Team's Silent Hill 1 remake kind of hits all the right marks. But that's kind of just the news about this one right now. It exists, you can play it. It is a fun time. It does still have some improvements around the edges to be made, but from one member of my Discord, you can complete it from start to finish. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, but otherwise, I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.